What's going on, folks?
Hey.
It's your boy Dub.
It's your boy True Billy.
It's your boy Ross.
And we are in
The
Clutch. Hey.
Yes, sir.
back to you, ladies and gentlemen, another video. You feel me?
Is that a green screen?
Oh, man.
yeah.
This is not a drill, ladies and gentlemen.
It's no screen. It's nothing, actually. It's what you see in the background. Illusion.
Oh, my God, bro.
But nah, man, we about to check out this video, man. Animals that got the middle finger from evolution.
Wow. What a
We're
title.
trying new things as well.
Mhm.
Speaking of evolution, isn't that crazy?
Exactly, man.
What a
You
coincidence.
see what the universe is doing?
The universe
is speaking.
it's aligning itself perfectly. So
It is.
we're gonna
Not
check this out.
confirmed.
Do a try not to laugh. It's a new month. We will be announcing the try not to laugh winners of the money pot from I want to say September and October.
Yep.
So we'll be announcing that later on this week. So stay tuned. Keep sending us the vids. You guys have been amazing, man. It's just a lot to sort through, but we're gonna try to get to the best ones and the funniest ones y'all send us. So.
And make sure you are following us on all social media
Of
platforms.
course, that's the only way you can win.
You got to be following us on Clutch Gone Rogue.
Yep.
You got to be following us on the InTheClutch Instagram.
Yep.
You got to be following us on Twitter,
Yep.
Instagram,
Yep.
again, our
Yep.
personals,
Yep.
and Let's Talk Feminine,
Yep.
and our personal channel.
Yep.
And, should I keep going? Clutching around Sports Talk.
Mm-hmm.
The Sports Talk for you. It's a good show, man. Y'all
won't be
need to start
disappointed,
checking
man.
it out, for real.
Yeah, man. So
So
follow
we'll
us
know you a
everywhere.
real
Exactly.
supporter. So
Let's do this, man.
let's go.
Evolution is a name Emily. That's it. That's the whole intro.
Emily.
Don't get me wrong, the concept of evolution is pretty cool. It's the reason giraffes get to flex their high in the entire animal kingdom. But there are just times where nature and evolution decide to team up and absolutely hoe an animal's entire existence. So here are 10 animals that I personally think got done the dirtiest. It's not exactly in order, but obviously some animals are going to get violated more flagrantly than others. And I say that because if this list were actually in order, the octopus would probably medal at the Oppression Olympics for, well, let me explain. Octopus are highly intelligent, and scientists believe they have the same cognitive ability as a 2-year-old human. Which might not seem impressive, but that means octopus are on the same IQ level as some dogs. They're even smart enough to use tools, whether it's using the tentacles of the venomous man-o-war as a weapon, which they actually do, or carrying a coconut around to keep as a travel-sized panic room.
Wow.
That is very
That's
smart.
crazy.
That's
But
good.
being
Good
smart
living
is the
right there.
only thing they have going for them. First of all, most octopus come into the world as orphans. The mother octopus will spend months guarding and washing her nursery of up to
Damn.
50,000 eggs. Since it's too dangerous to leave them alone, and since there's no daycare underwater, she often won't eat the entire time. Which means once the clutch of
Wow.
eggs are finally ready to hatch, the mother is shriveling, starving, and ready to become initials on a Twitter bio. Struggle doesn't end there. In fact, that's when it starts.
Initials?
These babies the size of a grain of rice have to figure out life in an ocean full of animals that'll actually try to put an end to it. It's so bad that out of the 50,000 children, if more than 2 survive to adulthood, it's considered overachieving. That honestly
Wow.
wouldn't be a big deal if nature didn't already nerf them with their lifespan. It's so ridiculously short that a majority of octopus species that live life to the fullest still won't be alive for their first birthday. Being an octopus
damn, I
means you
didn't
can
know
be
that.
born on New Year's, have a midlife crisis by June, only to be a memory by October. Giving an animal high intelligence just to cut its life after 1 or 2 years
that
just
is
seems like an
kinda messed up,
intentional
bro.
dick move.
That's good.
And because they have no shell or no armor, they'd honestly be lucky to live that long.
Yeah.
Having no real way to defend themselves means a good number of them end up a sea lion's chew toy or a dolphin's frisbee. To be fair, octopus do have camouflage. In some cases, highly toxic venom. But for the most part, they get bodied by most of the ocean. And to add insult to
man,
injury,
I didn't
every
know
octopus you
octopus
see is
like-
probably a virgin because once they get
Octopus
laid,
lives
they die.
matter, bro.
We already saw what
So
happens to
you
their mother,
One
but
is
where
a
did daddy at?
virgin.
Once the male octopus mates, he basically just gives up on life. The male octopus that's cached in his V-card will swim around catatonically until he either gets torn apart by predators or dies of starvation as his body falls apart due to senescence. Not like it really matters because most female octopus are bigger than the males and sometimes they'll attack and cannibalize him
like the
during.
definition.
But one thing's for sure, if his date doesn't put him out of commission, his post-nut clarity will. Octopus don't live long, but for the months they're alive, their entire existence is a jihad. Now you know what?
Imagine you bust your first nut.
And you about to die.
Ooh.
And that's
I
it's
got
over.
no regrets.
We gotta think that first one.
Your first. Your
The
first.
first one is the great one.
Yeah, it is.
is,
It's a whole new
Exactly.
world.
I twitch and everything.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's-
think about it. To go out with a banger, you should want to go out with your
I
first
mean,
one.
that's cool, but you want to relive it, bro. You finally lose your
saying.
V card. Damn, that octopus
You
look
ain't
good.
think about all that.
you didn't.
That
Damn, that's-
octopus look good. I've been eyeing her
Some
at the bottom
tentacles.
of the sea. Look at them tentacles. Look at them
big.
suction
What am I
cups.
ready for round 2? Like, that's horrible. That's basically, that's sad, man. I don't know, octopus, man. Y'all were taking L's like that.
This nigga said, y'all ready for round 2?
I literally thought they were
Slapped him.
somewhat like
Yeah, bro.
king of the sea. I don't know, because y'all can squeeze and camouflage into so many different places. Like,
Damn, bro, that's
wow.
cold.
I didn't know the
Why
lifespan.
Squidward couldn't give
just
a
months.
if a paid him. But at least
Hold on, let me go
for the
back.
months they're alive, their entire
Oh my
existence
God,
is a
that's cold,
jihad.
bro.
Now you know why Squidward couldn't give a if a paid him.
Yeah, now
But
I
at least
see
with the
why.
octopus, it just seems to be really bad luck. They may be a victim of circumstance, but at least you get the idea that nature didn't go out of its way to screw them. Not like with this bird. Kiwi bird is probably the best proof that evolution ain't perfect. This tiny bird is actually part of the rat-type family.
Exactly.
And this cookout includes ostriches, emus,
Oh,
cassowaries,
damn.
and
He
the
got the
rhea.
short end
But
of the
unlike
stick
its
for
bigger
real.
cousins, this bird that shares its name with a fruit is about 18 inches tall and no more than 7 pounds.
Damn.
It's kind of like having cousins 6'3", 6'4", and 6'6", yet you came out looking like Tory Lanez. Like your family's tall enough to fit in an NBA locker room, yet you get it from a chair and stay the same height. But of course, nature
That
wasn't done
sounds
screwing
messed
with this bird because like its relatives, they can't fly. Totally flightless, and despite being related to ostriches, a Jurassic reject, and a bird that literally won a war
He's
against
just food.
Australia, Kiwi's about as defenseless as the fruit that got named after it. Basically, you're looking at a bird that can't bird. The Kiwi is such light work that they can only survive on islands without any mammalian predators because they're really a couple stray cats away from being put in the history books.
That nigga like, oh shit.
Nothing,
And
no
somehow, that's not it. Because nature shrunk everything about this bird. Everything except the eggs they have to push out of their body. Despite being about 60 times smaller, Kiwis have to deal with eggs nearly the same size as an ostrich's. And at 20% of its body weight, that would be like the average woman birthing a 35-pound baby, with the same equipment. It's such a hell to live that the egg actually rearranges the bird's organs and stretches its rib cage. There's too many things wrong with them for me not to think nature had serious beef
Nah,
with this
nature
bird.
did
Especially
them
when you
dirty.
realize the Kiwi's closest ancestor was the elephant bird, which was about 10 feet, 1,600 pounds. So yeah, they got nerfed bad.
They
At
got
least they didn't get
super
hit as
nerfed.
hard as, say,
They
We're
got
Carvana,
nerfed.
the
For
company
real,
who
for real.
That's
invented
messed
car
up,
vending
bro.
machines.
They
and
got a
buy
birth
the
the
car
egg
100%
size of them.
online.
That's cold.
That
Sloth?
ain't God. That was a scientific mistake, bro. Like,
That was a scientific.
for being completely honest here, the
sloth.
sloth has almost nothing going for it.
Right,
Because they
yeah.
insisted on eating nothing but leaves, their diet makes them one of the slowest animals on the planet.
cool
Because they
though.
physically can't afford to spend energy they don't have, because going into
don't,
debt
yeah.
would mean death. It's to the point where baby sloths have to quite literally hold on for dear life, because if it falls to the jungle floor, the mother likely won't waste the energy trying to get it back. And that's because if you're a sloth, leaving this tree is the most dangerous thing you'll ever do. Sloths only poop about once a week, and when they do, they'll climb out of the tree and get on the ground to do it. Why they don't just drop a deuce from the trees, I couldn't tell you. Nobody knows what goes on in their heads. But this means about half of all sloth deaths involve getting clapped on the toilet like Elvis. One thing sloths have going for them is that they're so mind-numbingly slow that algae actually grows on them, giving them free camouflage.
Damn.
There's a catch. There is always a catch. When one of your biggest ops is an eagle with quite literally some of the best eyes in the world, wearing a moss blanket isn't gonna amount to too much.
Right.
And you know evolution was actively f***ing with them because sloths are actually really good swimmers. They can hold their breath for 40 minutes, longer than dolphins and
can hold
seals.
their breath
But it
30
means
minutes.
almost nothing when most of the time they go swimming is by accident when they fall out of a tree. And that weak-ass doggy paddle might save them from drowning, but it won't save them from getting murked by an anaconda or a black cane.
Yeah.
The really sad part is, sloths could actually be way better than this. Its close relatives, the armadillo and anteater, are able to put the same claws that it has to good use, and anteaters have even been known to swing on jaguars. You have a homicidal vacuum cleaner that has put jaguars and people in coffins, and then you have a moss blanket with a face. Just like the Kiwi, the sloth used to be better than this. Megatherium, aka the giant ground sloth, was in the same weight class as
Goddamn.
elephants, and they actually knew how to use those claws. So much so that if Ice Age were realistic, Sid would have worn Diego's ass like a fur coat. But its massive size ended up screwing it in the end, as they basically got hunted into oblivion by humans, leaving us now with the virtually defenseless, dead-eyed, slower than molasses algae apartment that we call the sloth.
We're Carvana, the
Hey.
company who invented car vending machines
Yeah.
and buying a car 100%
They
online. Now
huge, bro.
yeah.
You know that thing on TV where it's like someone gets a genie that grants wishes, but only does so in a way that horribly bends them over in the end, and the moral's supposed to be careful what you wish for? That basically sums up this next animal, because it looks like it got
Fairly
finessed by a
Odd
genie in
Pants.
one of the most disrespectful ways possible. This is a fiddler crab. Male fiddlers have one giant brolic claw whose only purpose is to get a
And
female's
one little
attention.
one?
Lady crabs choose their mate based on who has the biggest claw and therefore can pass the best genes to her clutch of eggs. The problem is, that is literally the only thing this claw is good for. Because that claw is too big to pick up food, the male fiddler crab can only feed himself with that smaller claw.
Damn.
That massive claw is actually a disability that means the males either eat half the food or take twice as long as the females. The only problem with that is that these crabs only eat during low tide, and the longer the crab spends eating, the more likely they are to end up as someone else's main dish. In the evolutionary arms race for female validation, the
is
male
messed
fiddler
up.
crab is more likely to end up getting eaten by gulls, raccoons, reptiles, and sometimes even bigger crabs. And since the females enable this by being attracted to the bigger but less functional claws, the fiddler is now trapped in a vicious cycle. By preferring males with a trait that quite literally gets them put on a shirt, the females indirectly screw the next generation.
They
Gotta
do.
be careful what you wish for, especially if you're this next animal. Because the peacock has the same problem on steroids. We can all agree that the peacock is the biggest flexor in the animal kingdom, and rightfully so. And just like with the crab and basically every other aspect of life, bigger is most certainly better. The more colorful and eye-catching, the better the peacock's chances at bagging a peahen. They'll even shimmy their tail feathers in a way that hypnotizes any female watching. But like I said, never make a deal with a genie. Because the good news is a peacock showing off will always be the center of attention. Bad news is sometimes that attention comes from a 700-pound assault weapon with stripes. And because those tail feathers are so heavy, not only can't the peacock see behind it, even if it does see death, it takes them longer to get off the ground and out of the tiger's reach. Just like with the crab, the peacock's biggest flex is often what gets it buried. In a cruel twist from fate, the peacocks that are safer from tigers are usually the ones that get less attention from females. So by having a preference, the peahens doom their future children to a fate of ultimately ending up as a tiger's toothpick. The peacock and fiddler both got handed massive L's from nature, but at least you can see the thought process behind it. Having huge claws and fancy feathers attracts females, so technically it does serve a purpose. In comparison, the Luna Moth got shafted for no reason at all. To make a long story short, adult Luna Moths don't have a mouth and therefore can't eat. The only thing keeping them alive is the energy they store as caterpillars, but once that runs out, so does their time. Luna Moths live for about a week, just long enough to reproduce and doom their children to the same fate of a non-consensual hunger strike. If you ask Google why the Luna Moth doesn't have a mouth, it'll tell you because its only purpose is to mate. Which is really nature not giving a fraction of a about them. Yeah, that's cruel.
I want y'all to understand, that is
You
messed
don't
up,
have
bro.
a mouth. You're only going off the energy you have when you were stored. If you
That's
store it from a caterpillar.
cold, bro. Yeah.
I
And then
ain't-
after that, you just die. So you gotta make sure you live your best life in 1 week. Hey, baby, I'm about to. But then you
about to live it up.
You screw up the next generation because that's it.
I ain't telling God he messed up.
Nah, God,
I can't,
thank you, God, for making us human beings, bro. Because I don't, dog.
The little we ain't questioning.
You better hold on to that energy, man, from when you was a baby.
Yeah, bro. Because once you get out, man, it's over.
We would never walk.
Bro, that's
wouldn't.
awful,
That
bro.
is terrible,
We'd
dog.
just be
It is.
crawling.
What could possibly be crueler? Well, if you know what this is, you probably have the answer. This is a sea louse. It's a member of the Caligidae family of copepods, which is basically just a bunch of small crustaceans.
learning a lot
But you probably
today.
noticed that for the peacocks and the crabs, it was the guys getting the worst of it. Apparently, nature believes in a weird form of equality because right now it's up for the girls. The horror show starts when a male sea louse kidnaps a much smaller female and then forcibly drags her into what I can only describe as a crustacean sex dungeon, where he can have up to 20 other victims also trapped. It's at this moment where this movie loses its rating because the male will
Dun, 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 dun.
I ain't
trying to be
Rude,
babe.
girl, I'm feeling you.
Come here, girl.
Yeah.
Doop, doop. Let me get it that beep, beep. If you know,
Sex dungeon.
I don't see
Trapped
nothing wrong.
With a little gravitate.
With a little gravitate.
I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong.
We ain't saying no names.
Trapped in a dungeon.
Woke up this morning. All right.
What in the bug's life, surviving a bug's life is this going on?
Oh my
forcibly
God.
impregnate every last female in his burrow, and this often involves penetrating her abdomen.
Oh!
Don't worry, it gets worse. As her brood of children that she never asked for begin to grow, they decide to start eating their way out.
Oh!
Eventually, the mother's body splits open as her nursery of psychopaths rush out of her now mutilated husk of a corpse. This might be one of the only times where the babies abort the mother. Doesn't even really get to give birth. Her children just bring her death.
Yo.
You might be wondering why evolution would even give this
That's
nonsense the green light.
cold.
Well, the newborn sea louse are entering an ocean full of danger, and having a full meal before they make it out on their own apparently increases their chance of survival. And by cannibalizing their own mother, it's basically a home-cooked meal. Somehow, this isn't even the worst birth on
That's
this list.
cold.
As a
So
specialist
they
coffee
get
roaster, we
abducted,
are always dealing with small runs of
forcibly
packaging and last-minute changes.
impregnated, and
Dropbox
then
allows us
eaten by
to
their
work with
own
the designers,
children.
copyright.
That title belongs to the hyena
Oh, yeah,
because straight
hyenas,
up death
they-
is actually better than what they go through.
I hate that.
Female hyenas evolved a pseudo-penis that's so similar to the real thing, it's actually difficult to tell males and females apart.
Oh.
This is actually a female. Only problem is, it's not just for show, they actually have to give birth to that thing. And yes, it's every bit as painful as you think. And just to
What?
somehow make it even worse relative to the mother's size, hyenas have to give birth to the largest cubs of any carnivore, and they have to do it through a penis. Good amount of first-time mothers don't even survive this because the process involves rupturing and splitting open the pseudo to make it easier for the cub. But the cubs don't get it easy either. About 60% of hyena cubs will suffocate on the way out and become past tense before technically even joining the present. And you would think because this directly affects the mother and the cub that evolution would have patched this. But apparently nature and Lion King have something in common when it comes to doing hyenas dirty.
No! Me, community
But if we're talking about an animal that got done dirty, this picture kind of speaks for itself.
Oh,
Matter of
no.
fact, this is probably going to be the thumbnail because this is nature at its
Bro, is that a
grimiest.
horn?
A lot of
Yeah,
y'all probably
going
knew this
into
animal
the-
is coming
the
just from
brain.
reading the title, but for those of you that didn't, that was the skull of the Barbarossa. It's a wild pig found in Indonesian islands like Sulawesi. If you already knew that, it's probably because of those teeth. Those tusks penetrate out of its snout only to do a complete 180 and head right back towards its face. The male Barbarossa can't wear down this hellish overbite or he doesn't lose them in a fight, then the teeth will end up growing right back into his head, penetrating the skull and ultimately piercing the brain. But the worst part of it all is that by the time it gets clapped by its own dental plan, the Barbarossa's probably already had children and therefore passed on its bullshit to its kids. It's a lot like Parkinson's. Okay, hear me out. The problem with Parkinson's is that it usually develops late in life, usually around the age of 60. And patients can have it for years without being diagnosed. So by the time they do find out, it's possible they could have already had kids and grandkids that they could have passed it off to. See the problem, right? The only good thing is that it's somewhat rare for a child to inherit Parkinson's from their parents. The Barbarossa, not so lucky. And as long as females find big tusks attractive, and as long as the tusks only murk them after they've had babies, this pig is going to be screwed eternally, and evolution can't even
Damn,
stop
bro,
it.
that
But when you
whole
talk about being
backwards.
sodomized by the fleshy phallus of nature, you're probably talking about cheetahs. If you
Damn, that's.
Terrible,
I
dog.
feel
Stream
bad
live
for these
TV
animals,
on 85
man.
channels.
Hey, be
Disable
thankful
to
you're
$500.
human, bro.
You watch Tear Zoo?
Sometimes.
If you're watching this, you
Sometimes.
probably do. You probably heard him say that cheetahs are F-tier garbage that either need to be buffed or just vaulted out of their
Buff,
misery.
like
I
they're a
love
weapon.
cheetahs, I really do, but out of every
Me too.
animal on this list, evolution might have bodied the cheetah the hardest, and for one simple reason.
for real.
Cheetahs are really fast.
But they don't eat.
That is all they have.
Yep.
Cheetahs are a textbook example of why you should never dump all your evolution points in one sport, because you'll just get bent over in every other aspect of life.
Right, you see-
Because they're
you
built for
shouldn't
speed
put all
and
your
absolutely
evolution
nothing else.
points on
Cheetahs
one.
often get bullied by other predators, especially
They do,
lions and
bro. They
hyenas.
can't even eat their
And
own
because
food.
cheetahs have to expend so much energy just to make a kill, it forces them to rest right after, which makes it really easy for other animals to just step in and run their pockets.
Yep.
Look at that, bro.
Shit, well, damn.
But for real, if you're a cat and a bird that literally only eats the dead is able to run you off, you got a lot of problems. Worst part is, cheetahs could easily avoid all of this. Leopards are also lightweight, solitary hunters that occasionally get their food stolen, but they're able to carry their kills up in
Wow.
trees where they can't get harassed by scavengers.
Look at how
But in the
strong
evolutionary
you gotta
race for
be.
speed, cheetahs evolved non-retractable claws to use as cleats to keep traction while running. Which is why cheetahs can't climb trees, so they gotta get violated on the ground. Cheetahs are such pushovers that one hyena can successfully rob several cheetahs right in their face and then dare them to do something about it. Cheetahs compromised everything for speed, so now they get to speed run through life. About 70% of cheetah cubs born in the wild will be 6 feet under before their first birthday. And just to add on to that, because why the hell not, thanks to genetic bottleneck, a majority of the cheetah population is highly inbred. What you're looking at is a cat that doesn't really know how to cat. Because instead of roaring like lions, tigers, and leopards, the best this spotted doormat can do is chirp like a bird. Matter of fact, if you YouTube it real quick, you'll find they make every sound that isn't a roar.
Yeah. Yep, that's how they sound.
That's crazy, man.
And that's how you know evolution went out of its way to
Thought
them.
they,
Cheetahs
like-
have been around for
I guess
about
that
3
was a
million
Black
years and
Panther
decided
then,
they were
like-
just gonna IM speed their way through life. And because of that, unless it's a 100-meter dash or a bird call contest, this overgrown house cat loses every single
No,
time.
it's basically.
Obviously, there's a lot of good things about the cheetah, but not nearly enough to justify the abuse they go through. Which is probably why a majority of cheetahs in captivity experience severe anxiety so bad that it prevents them from mating and they need an emotional support dog. Which is cute, don't get me wrong, but it's another reason why cheetahs are dangerously close to being the pandas of cats, and that's not something anyone
crazy,
wants to be.
man.
And don't get it twisted, I don't enjoy roasting cheetahs, I actually really love them, but if nature has favorites, this Cheetos mascot isn't one of them. And those are 10 animals that got the middle finger from evolution.
Cheetos,
I'm not gonna lie to
Damn.
you, this video was low-key a pain to make. So if you like the video and you'd like to support this channel, my
Hey, man, y'all definitely go
support,
subscribe to
man.
him,
Yeah,
bro.
definitely,
Geographic.
man.
Yeah, nah, man, I learned a
I
lot. just
learned
from,
a lot today.
Nah,
Wow.
that was informative and funny.
Discovery Channel be damn. Like,
Yeah, this was hella informative. I did not know.
Different way to learn, man.
Yeah,
I
big
did not
facts.
know-
Cheetahs get done like that.
Yeah,
I
man.
watch a lot of National
Just like the
Geographic,
octopus,
so.
I'm thinking they eat pretty
Nah,
well. I know
bro.
the lion's the king of the jungle, but I'm thinking that's second. Like,
Nah, the octopus, nah.
Hell no.
Nah, them niggas, they are, bro. You boys be frying them, turn them
well, no, I know
calamari
I'm
and
talking
shit,
about,
bro.
like,
Them
they can
niggas.
camouflage and they can squeeze in like the tightest like holes and stuff.
Shit
So
look
I'm thinking
cute.
that,
Shit look cute, but
Shit sweet
Yeah.
until
something
you
else come.
man,
till
yeah.
you bust a nut your first time. Shit ain't sweet no more. You dead.
That's-
That's cold, bro. Can't even have sex.
Start
And if you
deteriorating.
do have sex, your body just, all right, man. You know what time it is. Damn, bro. I just had one nut, bro. Dang.
Definitely stay a virgin.
Yeah, that's the one community. Being a virgin is a good thing.
Always, even in this community.
Yes, so yeah, definitely.
Virgins are the way, man.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, man, if y'all enjoyed that video, man, keep on supporting, man. Run up the likes. If y'all like the look and the feel of it, man, let us know if y'all enjoying it. We just trying different things for you guys, man. Every time it's good to freshen up, man. Do something a little different, man. Spice it up a little bit. Again, if y'all enjoying it, let us know in the comments down below. If you want to get picked for the cash out, make sure you follow us on anything we've ever advertised and promoted. We'll know who's really supporting us if you're a patron and a subscriber of everything that we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
But we love y'all, man. Hope y'all staying safe out there. It's in the clutch, baby.
The bitches from Houston. If you got a problem, then we got the solutions. And there's no illusion. I made this shit happen, I'm living life lucid. I'm switching my strategies. Now they hate on me cause I'm causing casualties. But why are they after me? Deep inside they know they can't handle half of me.